welcome to the Property Mom Property Investing Series. Today we'll be talking about buying in the auction. Now, buying in auctions is an amazing way to find below market value properties. There are many reasons why people sell in auction. Sometimes it's because it's a distressed sell, sometimes it's because somebody has acquired a property, don't know what to do with it, and they decide to throw it in the auction. Other times it's really just a local authority or housing association trying to get rid of their stock. And I found these to actually be some of the better properties. Sometimes they're in really good locations as well, and they're just trying to reduce stock for whatever reason, and they threw them in their preferred auctions. One of the important things is to get your finances in order. So before you actually go to the auction, it's very important that you know exactly how much you're approved or pre-approved to bid up to, and keep your properties, keep the properties that you intend to bid on within that limit, of course. Meaning you have to find properties that match your budget, which takes me to the next thing, which is you should have already pre-signed with the auction houses in your area to find out when they will be having their next auctions. Now, typically about 3 weeks prior to the auction date, they will release their catalogs, and their catalogs have all of the properties that will be listed in the auction with the viewing times to see those properties. So people always ask, oh, how do you know which property you're buying and the condition? You do get the opportunity to view those properties beforehand. Later on in this video, I'm going to show you how viewing what it looks like, basically when you go to the property, how you can source out the right type of property, because a lot of times you'll go and view the properties and you very quickly realize, no, this property doesn't fit the criteria for which I should buy. But if you're buying for investment, it's very important that you know that you've identified a way you're locking in value from the onset. So with auction properties, why they represent that is because, number one, you have fewer people who are looking in the auctions to buy property. Most people that want to buy don't want to go through the hassle of refurbishing a property. So that makes it, number one of the reasons why you can get good value. Number two is because it is a complicated process if you don't fully understand the way it works. So, that also dissuades people from coming to buy in the auction. And people have this fear that when they get there, they'll just be bidding and bidding. But of course, within reason, when you go in to bid for the properties, you do have to have a certain level of sort of tenacity and self-control so that you don't get carried away while you're bidding. But that doesn't really happen. You already know your limits, you've already set your limits, so you know this is the max you're going to be able to go in the auction anyway. Prior to going to the auction, you've also done your valuation in the area, so you need to look around the area, see what properties are selling for. So typically when I'm going to an auction and I've identified this property as my short list of properties that I want to bid on, I will also look in the market to see if there's any similar properties on the market. So if I see, say, a 2-bed that I think I like the layout, I'm going to view it, then I'll look in the market to make sure that property prices in that area are not exceeding or anywhere near the value I'm trying to bid on. When buying in auction, it's very important that, of course, you have your backup. So you have the first lender you've approached. You always have to have that backup lender, because if for whatever reason you don't, you could have been pre-approved, but then they don't like the type of property, or they don't like the financials, or something just doesn't work out with this lender, doesn't mean another lender won't take it. So most times I advise that you have 2, sometimes 3 is overkill, but at least 2 mortgages running during the period you need to complete, so to make sure that at least one of them will go through. When buying in the auction, these are some of the points that you need to be aware of. And if you just watch the video, and then I'll come back afterwards to explain some of the key points in the video. So, hi everyone. This is another property that I've seen in auction that is a great option for considering. It's currently dressed up as a 1-bed. Well, I wouldn't say dressed up, but it's currently set up as a 1-bed flat. Gorgeous high ceilings and gorgeous bay windows. Now with the bay windows, if you notice, you have sort of the single set of windows on the side, and then that set of windows, so you could easily tuck in a kitchen just in that corner, and then literally have your living room, and this is a decent sized living room space. But get this is the most amazing part of it, is this you think is a bedroom. No, it's actually the kitchen. So it's such a large kitchen. We'll strip out all of these units and pretty much just transform it into a lovely bedroom. And voila, you have a 2-bed flat in a nice part of London, which is northwest London. And you know, it makes sense. Now, the only thing that I would call attention to is all of the crack lines running up in the corner. That is definitely something that would need further investigation prior to the auction, and the auction is literally in 4 days, so there's not a lot of time to find out. But that's the garden downstairs, of which we have no access to. Yes, it's a beautiful split level, has a good space, lovely bathroom size, and then, you know, this is like one of the nicest sized bathrooms I've seen in this configuration, you know, and just that this is just potential. I've done these ones so many times. It's such an easy turnaround to just add the value in. Currently it's listed at 225. I expect there will be a bit of competition in the auction, and it'll end up going for somewhere in the 300 region, but that's still not a bad price, considering that you can convert it to a 2-bed, and once you've done that, it would be easily worth about 450. So you've seen how you would go through the property, identifying where you would find the value, you know, the layout of the living room. It was large enough for you to be able to insert and convert it into a open plan property, and thereby transform it from a 1-bed to a 2-bed with not that much work. So the rest of the property just needed the standard refurbishment, new bathroom, you know, you're putting in a new kitchen, style up the bedrooms, even with the furnishing and everything. You know, let's work through the numbers. So this property in particular ended up selling at the auction for 300k, which even till now I'm still like 300,000. You know, this is a 1-bed in northwest London, Halston area. Now, because it can easily be modified into a 2-bed, you could see the size of the kitchen as it is, easily a nice double bedroom. Go on the market. So what I say is, first of all, you look at the layout. The second thing you look at is the price. So what's the future price? So the price today is important because you don't want to overpay for. Say this is a 1-bed, you don't want to overpay for it relative to what's on the market at the time. So at 300k, it was fair. You could find properties at 280, or you could find properties at 320. Guess what? Properties at 280 probably won't have a big enough kitchen to be able to convert to a 2-bed anyway. So 300 was a good price, to be fair. Now, how much would it cost to refurbish this type of property? Typically, at the max, 25,000. But in all realistic, it's going to be about 20,000, because you put in a new kitchen, 5,000, put in a new bathroom, 5,000. These are even blown up property prices. New paint job all over the place, another 5k through at it. So, you know, and then for the parts, another 5k. So let's look at it at 20,000. So you're looking at 300,000 to buy the property. Stamp duty on 300,000 properties anywhere up to £15,000. So 15,000 for stamp duty, 20,000 for the refurbishment. So you've paid 335,000 to acquire this property. You do up the works, convert it to a 2-bed, style it out, present it, and you have yourself a 450k property. Because if you look on the market, at the time I was looking, there were properties on the market for up to 500, but I would conservatively put it at 450. Now, you are still able to extract 337,000, meaning you have extracted all of your money that you put into that property out. You pay off the previous lender, and you own the property. You know, other than the fact that you still have a mortgage, you still have equity in the property. And that is basically the model. You take out that initial amount and you move on to the next property. You know, so you've basically gotten all of your initial capital that you needed to go into the first deal. you move on and you just replicate and replicate and replicate. And this is why I call this model the keep it simple model, because it's so simple. You know, you pretty much source the property, you increase the value, you modify the property, you present the property, you let the property, and then you extract the value. It's just as simple. So moving on, you know, properties are a great way to build wealth, both long-term and short-term. Always when I'm always talking about either way, because it's either I'm talking about how you can make money in property, you know, for cash flow reasons, or if that's your goal and your objective is you just want cash flow, there are ways to do that in property. And if it's to build long-term wealth, build up your portfolio, there's also strategies. So, you know, you can always find out more information by sending me, sending the team an email on info@propertymom.co.uk. That's info@propertymom.co.uk. And do sign up for the podcast, because I also do podcasts which I, you know, publish. And, you know, once you subscribe to my channel, then you'll get notification for when the next podcast will be on. Otherwise, it's been great, and hope you've learned something very specific from today. I'm always trying to make sure you learn something from each of the videos that I'm putting out. So, you know, because really wealth in property is really not rocket science. There's so many models and there's so many things that you have to find what works for you. And this is the whole point of laying everything out so that anyone can really do it. You just have to have the right foundation, right advisors, and make sure you are on top of your numbers. So, thank you.